Hello viewers and welcome back to Heart of the Machine. We are currently developing TPN, Total Parenteral Nutrition. Right, this is an injected form of nutrition which will make our torment vessels inhabitable. We'll be feeding people through intravenous injections in there. Great, it's gonna be fine. What could go wrong? To do that, we're going to need to start an investigation. We're going to infiltrate a hospital. I guess we can't do it ourselves without the hospital knowledge. So that's going to happen at this hospital here, we determined. And to do that, we will need a PMC, we'll need some harbingers, we're also going to need some sledge. I'm going to start by just moving the PMC closer. Let's do that with one mental energy to here. We'll also bring the harbinger in. It's also going to be just a little bit out of range, and then we're going to make at least 2 sledge, maybe 3 sledge. How many sledge can we afford? We do have a bunch of bulk units around here, which are bulk Nickelbots, bulk sledge. I think these Nickelbots have a huge range, so yeah, they're going to be in range. That's probably why I picked this one. So let's make some sledge and bring them down here. The sledge are going to take 2 mental energy each to make. So that's 6 mental energy right off the bat just for making these guys. Instead of doing that, though, what I want to do is bring the ruby closer, because if we drop them out of the ruby, then we won't have to move them further to get them closer. So let's put the ruby about here, and that'll save us a lot of mental energy in the long run, because we can just start the sledge close by. The nice thing about this hospital is there's no military nearby, so I think we're just going to surround it with a couple sledge, and I'm hoping that this does the trick for us. We'll see if I've planned this correctly. I think that's all we need. 4 mental energy left. We are 10 above android capacity, so we're gonna have to go and nuke some of our other androids. This guy over here, the combat unit, totally unnecessary, so I could change his stance. That's not what we want. We're just gonna destroy you, so that's the delete key. Goodbye. That did bring us back down. We do have some missing equipment. I think that's gonna be on the sledge. Right, yeah, we actually haven't outfitted these guys yet. So these sledge use grenades. We did give our bulk sledge the mortars, smart mortars. Smart mortars aren't grenades. They give us cognition and a lot of combat power, and do have targeting uplink. So potentially we could bring a tailstock closer and hopefully take advantage of that. I still haven't really figured out how to use targeting uplink. We'll figure that out soon, I hope. We could give them plasma projectors. Plasma projectors have 480 piercing overclock, spends health to pierce armor up to its rating. It could be a cheapish way to pierce armor, and 480 is pretty big for armor piercing. I don't think we're going to run into anything that needs it, though. We're probably going to run into android, so I was hoping there was a grenade with anti-android, but it doesn't look like it. Taser is an option, but that requires engineering skill, and their engineering is really low. Disruption grenade does give weapon disruptor, which it uses the same icon as suppression, so I think that's a suppression effect. Alternatively, stun grenades are really good for fear attack power. I think we're going to be running into androids on this, so I'm not sure if fear matters. Frag grenade does have quite a bit of combat power. Their combat power is only 80 by default, so that's pretty pathetic, honestly. Smart mortar versus frag grenades. I think these guys were probably going to give them frag grenades. Just, I'm hoping that giant area attack intensity means that they'll be destroying a lot of enemies per attack. We're also going to give them the Wurtzite Nano Thread twice, which brings their health up to 1480. That's really nice. We're also going to give them an augment since we didn't give them the network uplink. I'm tempted to give them the network uplink here. Alternatively, we could give them lightweight components or optical processing priority. I think we're going to give them the network uplink, and I want to go back and revisit the bulk Nicobots, because could have given these guys a weapon with a tactical uplink here, and the range is terrible compared to the N150. The range and damage are terrible, but it does give them uplink. So I'm wondering if they need a targeting uplink. I don't know. I'll hold off on that and see until I've researched the targeting uplink or figured it out on other androids before. We did give it to bulk sledge, so maybe the bulk sledge operating with regular sledge means the bulk sledge will get this plus 30 bonus here. We'll see. Anyway, that's what we're doing for now. Sledge are using frag grenades plus a targeting uplink, and I think we're ready to go for 4 mental energy left, so I am hesitant to start anything with that low mental energy, so maybe we'll spend some. And we do have room for a couple more bulk units, so let's fill out our bulk roster over here. Could put more sledge or more Nicobots. I'm way more tempted to put Nicobots, although yeah, maybe just to keep it even, we will put at least one more bulk sledge out here. And we have 9 bulk units left, but no mental energy left to do that. Could deploy an Exeter. Exeters do get ambush. I think I'm gonna bring one Exeter in just to see, like, maybe... Oh, it will take us above cap. Never mind. Exeters take 8. We only have 2 capacity, so what can we destroy to lower capacity? We no longer need this combat unit red. I think we're going to drop you in favor of dropping an Exeter around here. So now, yeah, now we have capacity. So we'll put an Exeter around the hospital as well. And that's all the mental energy for the turn. We can do a little structure building though. Aerospace hangar, not really what I have in mind. I have in mind the lab robotics, lab operator robotics. Yeah, we're still waiting for Illumina on these, so we can't do those yet. The surgical suites, same story. And just checking into the betaverse, we are accumulating scientific research already. 1200. And our first android optimization costs 1200, so we also have gun research we could do that's only 500, item development that's only 3, so I think I'm gonna do the typical thing and just start buying the cheaper things first as we accumulate enough science to get them. So that means we're gonna start with melee research. Melee research gives us sword sharpness. That'll directly impact the Exeter for 10. Alternatively, it's just regular melee skill, which looks like maybe a combat power upgrade for specific weapons. That's a 60 bonus on the Judgment Blade versus sword sharpness being a 10-point bonus. So melee skill and sword sharpness look like they're kind of the same thing as density and velocity for weapons, where one is a percentage increase and one is a stat increase. This is a 30% increase though, so that's pretty good. Let's take that one. We still have a few points to spend here. There's item development. We could get service disruption effectiveness. Interesting. Improves the amount that Hackamajigs distracts enemies. Well, we'll think about that. We could put Hackamajigs on Nicobots as a cheap way to make them targets in the future. That might be something I'm underusing. So I want to kind of learn how to do that. Android armor piercing is another option. We don't have any armor piercing natively on anything. This improves the large bore armor piercing consumable. This removes the small bore armor piercing consumable. I think we want to build both of those out just so we have armor piercing. Let's start with the large bore one. I think that's what mechs use. And then 600 left. Our next gun research will cost 500, so we'll use that, and I guess we're going to improve our rifles. Okay, that's all we're doing in the betaverse for now, and that is the end of turn 8. We're going on to turn 9. Alright, and turn 9 we're going to, well, we're going to fix our missing equipment. Wait, who's this? That's the Exeter, right? Yeah. Exeter has missing equipment here. We're going to give you the Judgment Blade. Judgment Blade does have Android Buster 3.4, so that makes just absolutely destroys androids. We're going to give you the Wordsight Nanothread, and then 3 augments. We could give you a combat network uplink, but I'm not sure that really helps you. Infrasonic loudspeaker, shoulder mounted rockets, CPU. Yeah, which one of these really helps? I guess we'll give you 1 for combat network uplink. We'll give you 1 for lightweight components just to improve the movement. And then we'll give you a final one for something that improves combat power. Rage circuit, not so much. Minus 600 fear attack power. Really? That seems terrible. Shoulder mounted rockets seems good, and infrasonic loudspeaker can't be bad. These are both for fear and argument attack power, I think, are both for, well, argument attack power is obviously for dialogue arguments, but fear attack power, I'm not really sure. I think that's just like an alternative to, that's for like attacks that, yeah, I think that's your combat power for non-lethal attacks, basically. So, yeah, maybe the infrasonic loudspeaker seems reasonable. Let's do it. Alright, and then we're going to start this investigation here. We will send the PMC in. There is a military troop carrier hovering right over this building, but I don't think it's going to threaten us at all. This is an infiltration action. Boom. And here we go, exactly what I expected. There are SecForce hackers here doing anti-hacking. Something seems off, but no alarms have been sounded so far. This is a specialist hacker with heavy bionic augmentation. They're immediately attacking the Harbinger, which is expected. The Harbinger can attack these guys, even though it says 0% there. What he's really doing is a non-violent attack. Well, non-violent. He's touching them with his staff in some way that saps their hacking skill. So right now they have 516. That means if they find PMC imposter, they're going to do some combination of 516 minus his agility in damage to him. It'll take him a while to find him, but if we touch them with the staff, they are weakened and their hacking skill goes to 0. So that effectively makes them useless. Now they're not even attacking me because they're useless. I also think that the reason they're not attacking this Harbinger is because the Harbinger has Shadow Dweller. Unit is able to hide in the shadows and go undetected by enemies when it is at a building. So the fact that he was like out in this open, see the yellow lines go to him there, his tents count as buildings, so because he's on top of a building, he is invisible. That's kind of, I think, the way that works. Not 100% positive. I do like that the sledges have the adorable perk. Humans find this unit to be adorable. They aren't bothered by it unless it takes hostile actions. While he's about to take in hostile action, he's going to destroy these. Unfortunately, the area effect doesn't encompass them, so not exactly what I wanted. It's also only 39% damage. If we look at the Exeter right here, the Exeter gets an ambush bonus and it's 102% damage, so there's no reason not to do that. Of course, that did attract attention, and since this Exeter is a Shadow Dweller, he would need to go and get on a building to hide. So I'm going to test that theory now. If you're on top of a building, so that line's red, it means it's not an attack of opportunity, it's an end turn attack. So even though he's on a building, he's still being targeted, which is interesting. I expected him to disappear the same way the Harbinger does. Whatever, he's gonna jump in there with his final, well, not his final, with one of his action points and destroy this. There we go. And I don't see anyone else. We have four turns for that infiltration to succeed. Meanwhile, we have a TPS report. Consumer goods discount shop doesn't have any consumer goods. I think that's probably because the consumer goods building just hasn't been finished building yet. Consumer goods factory. Is that true? Or maybe it got built this turn and we just have to wait it out, because consumer goods factory should be making 500 consumer goods and the discount shop should be consuming 500, so that should be balanced. We should be making 151 wealth per turn out of that. Well, we're making some wealth. I think a lot of that is coming from our weird statue. Speaking of weird statues, we also have... Where is it? We have a whole bunch of stuff we should just go through and start making. The statue, and we've never built a... whatever, the monolith. Inscrutable alien obelisk, here we go. Needs 9 artifact minder, internal robotics, we have 6, okay. Don't have enough to make this. Darn. So, artifact minder, huh? I guess it's either some mysterious cult statues or an inscrutable alien obelisk. The obelisk takes 9, these take 3, so we can make 2 more of these. That'll boost our output to 3,000. If we had instead made an alien obelisk, we would be able to make 2 of these for wealth of 6,000. So it's actually better to make 2 inscrutable alien obelisks instead of 1 mysterious cult statue. You know what I'm going to do now that we've kind of seen what this does, which is basically nothing except for make these weird humans. I wonder if we can talk to these guys. Ooh. Let's do that before we go and smash anything. I'm going to send a tech over there to talk to you. Where is our tech? He's way over here. We don't really have any other things we're doing with our mental energy, so let's force a conversation here. Let's pop him over here for 3. And then... we can't. Okay, so there's no conversation of force here. We could use the Slayer ability and kill these guys, but no, that's not what we wanted. This is a Sec Force detectives guarding the statues. No, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna knock this statue down. Deleting the structure cannot be undone. Oh, there goes. And they're gone. Yeah, okay. So we're going to replace that statue with the inscrutable alien obelisk. It's way bigger. But technically we can make 2 of those, right? And we might as well, just to see, where the heck is it? Buildable. It's not buildable, I guess. Why? Oh, it uses 9. Okay, so I was wrong. It's only slightly better than making the cult statues. All right, let's see what this does. We'll use the rest of our mental energy here to try to build it. It's going to take 3 more turns to finish that. No big deal. We'll finish that soon. Meanwhile, develop TPN. 4 turns left. I think we just have to finish this infiltration and it's going to be complete. Sad that the grenades do so little damage. I wonder if there's an alternative. I guess we're gonna have to wait a few turns to see. Whatever. Let's go to turn 10. 1 hacker. We're definitely overkilling this infiltration. Take the hacker out with a Harbinger, and thinking about this, I wonder if we didn't kill him. Well, he's gonna attack our Exeter, so we're going to kill him, but We could attack with the grenades. It doesn't look like the grenades do friendly fire. And I've never used them, so I kind of want to see. 1, 2. Yeah, it's going to take 3 grenades from a sledge to destroy those. That did make this sledge defective, right? Which isn't necessarily the greatest thing. I think this guy's also marked defective. Yeah. Removed marked defective badge. Wait, what? Why did it say removed? Weird. Okay. I'm not sure. I wonder if that's because we killed the thing. I don't know. Anyway, that's all we had to do there this turn. Still tempted to build this aerospace hangar, but I don't think we'll need it. And it's just a power draw if we do build it. I think before I build it, I'm gonna wait until we have enough neodymium to make this. We're getting 485 neodymium per turn, so we can wait. We only need a few more turns for that. It does take 6,000 electricity to run the aerospace hangar, and yeah, we do have it, but it's not really worth like getting that close to our energy limits. All right, 3 more turns. It looks like every turn we're getting 25% on this. Not really any other stuff to spend all our mental energy on, except maybe adding mechs or bulks, but we don't have... we did. Okay, so I forgot to check here when we completed the protection required contemplation. That did give us the ability to make telemechs who also take neodymium. So we want to sort of explore neodymium options. Neodymium. What makes neodymium? Mineral scroungers? Maybe. Yield per turn 140 of random stuff. Yeah, I think it's really the skimmers that generate neodymium, right? Bauxite skimmer generates alumina, so we could get another one of those for alumina, but we don't have the hollow robotics needed. The other one is thortvetite. Yeah, there's the real neodymium source, 485. So we'd really like another one of these, but also no 3-meter hollow robotics, so we can't do it. Okay. The other thing to check is per turn. We have 800 science now. We could do gun research. We could do item development for 500 or melee research for 500. I think we'll do the item development. Android armor piercing, service disruption, or vehicle armor piercing. Let's continue with vehicle armor piercing there. 300 is not enough to do anything, so we'll pop back out of there. And yeah, 16 million of 36 million neural expansion. So we need 20 million neural expansion. Hopefully we can get that in this timeline with our Torment Nexus setup. We'll see. For now, though, we're going to finish constructing, I guess. And then our structures, yeah, there's nothing else under construction. Do we have enough robotics, or sorry, enough alumina to do these? Yes, we do. So we'll keep going with a neuroscience lab next. And just our last lab was there. We're going to put another lab like right about here. That's all the alumina we can afford for now. But we do have the energy to run over there and try to build that. And we'll do a recharge, build it, and a recharge and build it. And there we go. So we'll get some additional science out of that. And then maybe the next thing to do is just look at contemplations, see what might be next. I think maybe the AGI researchers are next, or maybe Full Metal. Yeah, and for their mythology, we've never done the non-dragon one, so I think we're going to start that contemplation soon. and try that. So that's the next one to do. I guess we could start that now with the senior tech. I don't think triggering this contemplation has anything. Oh, can't use units tied to shell company, unfortunately. So we'd have to bring a tech or create it. I guess we could create a nickel bot down here. We should have room for a nickel bot, right? 6, yep. So if we drop our free nickel bot in and send the nickel bot to do, oh, he needs 220 engineering skill. Okay, wasn't really worth it then. Can we give Nickelbot's engineering skill? I don't think so. 220 is pretty high to be able to get with equipment anyway. Yeah, we can't do that. So that's really gonna have to be a technician. In that case, let's scrap Nickelbot and consider making a technician. This takes 1 mental energy. Yeah, might as well have a second technician. Much less likely to destroy technicians when they're not doing anything. Okay, we're on the path to finishing the investigation into this hospital. We created a giant alien monolith as a distraction to the humans. Let's see what they do with it as we move to turn 11. Tents converted. I wonder what that means. Oh, there's a shelter coordinator working here. Neat. So we do have shelter coordinators somewhere. I think you can see them here. Nope. Allies. Here it is. So, yeah, we could tell them to stop, but right now they're going around and slowly turning tents into refugees. And if we look in resources, we can sort of see that happening. Well, they're turning them into sheltered humans now. We have room for sheltered humans. That means our high-rise complex, which I think we dropped here. Yeah, it just blends in with the rest of the skyline, but it's right here, this residential megastructure. Blends in with the rest of the city, but that's where we're housing sheltered humans for now. We have room for 21,000. We have 5,000 in there. It's a good idea to keep that resource on your radar. Okay, that the start of turn 211, just so you don't run out of room. I mean, start of turn 211, the hackers are attacking. I see one of them. Sec-Force hacker, there's the only one I see. We're going to send the Harbinger after you to disable your hacking. And the reason we do that is because when we damage this guy, if he has any hacking skill, because of his hackbreaker skill, damaging him damages the infiltration target, which is a weird mechanic, but that's how it works. You gotta disable their hacking skill, or maybe there's some other way to deal with them. Yeah, there is. You can alternatively, instead of doing it the way I'm doing it, you can also use this hack unit ability. That just says robotic enemies. Maybe it's the hacker who has it. There's a, yeah, you can't, oh, he's a bionic human. Yeah, so because he's a bionic human, you can hack him. And that's an alternative to what I'm doing, which is weakening the hacker and then just killing him. Much simpler way to take him out. 2 turns left there, 11 mental energy left. And I'm not sure we have enough alumina. No, we don't yet have enough alumina or neodymium to make the things I want to make, so we'll hold off on those. What I wanted to check was what was happening around here now that we have this inscrutable alien obelisk. We have a field researcher, a corporate scientist who has been sent out to perform observations or measurements. These linguists are working to decipher the nonsense you scrawled on the obelisk. You did leave a mathematical pattern in it, but it doesn't decode to any form of language. There's also a wealthy citizen. These humans keep hanging around trying to leave offerings or bribes for the aliens. Why do humans think aliens would want their money? And as far as I can tell, you can't interact with these, right? I can't force a conversation. They're non-combatants. They're just kind of decorative. It kind of feels like this whole obelisk versus cult thing might be a feature that's coming that's not fully baked yet. So for now, it's just a cute little side project that generates you some small amount of wealth. Shelter coordinators we did see them cleaning up some tents, so they're doing their jobs. Where they're based out of apparently doesn't have anything to do with what they're doing now. So we have 11 mental energy left. I think what I was trying to remember what we want to do. We basically want to look at street sense and make sure we have these things under control. The kind of things we want to use street sense for are we want to find some purple Murnong. We could send people in to scavenge more Illumina if we wanted to bring that in faster. And we want to find a pollinator so that we can start some bee colonies. Yeah, that's right. We want bee colonies. Political rally. We can send a technician to a political rally. We've never done that. That's cool. So there's a lot of little side quests that we could jump into. But what I'm really looking for right now are the bees. So that's going to be resources rare. There's only one of them. There's a few bee colonies. So we can send a technician to do this. Collect pollinator queen. That's going to be in a farm. Oh, the other thing I noticed. Let me do this. We'll send the pollinator queen in there. We're going to collect a queen, and it has a random outcome. You need a queen to establish a hive of your own. These are fraught to raise, so finding and capturing one is the easiest approach. I think it's an existing one. The downside is that local farm may start having pollination failures. That's fine. If you're lucky, nobody notices, and local pollination is not harmed. If not, 3 possible outcomes. Got the goods, but the local area has been harmed. Bummer. We've got a pollinator bee queen. They're coming to look, but they don't mind us. We're just gonna hop out of there for now, just so they don't get any ideas. Oh, that's right. I was gonna take a look at this. If you click on the individual fields now, you can actually see what's planted there. Pumpkins, grapes. So maybe more interesting if there's if it's a visible area. I guess the same thing happens here. Underground science labs, underground genetics lab. This is one of the mines. You can actually tell what these are. Multi-purpose mine shaft. It's also machine parts. Is there a visible or a farm that we can see? Because I thought that was just really fun that you could see the contents of farms. This one here, maybe. Yeah, these are like small farms, right? Farm tract 435, very small farms, planting tomatoes, wheat, and grapes. I just think it's so adorable that you have this much detail in this game. This is basically like completely background sim stuff that like you wouldn't even know was there if you didn't have this ability, because it just doesn't really come into play enough to be noticeable. This game has a lot of potential. Alright, back to the problem at hand. There is a new street sense. Pollinators wanted. We can send a technician. They only had a single queen. There's pollinators shortage at this farm. Yeah, well, what can we do about it? I think that's going to be an NPC interaction? No. That's going to be what? A pressure point? No. I'm not really sure what category it would be. It's not deals. It's this one though. Pollinators wanted. So we could send the tech back to deal with that. I'm not sure it just means given the pollinator directly. Let's see if we first build the bee farm. It should be suggested now? No, but it should be buildable now. Yeah, we'll build an apiary and then we'll go and see if it makes sense to talk to them about restoring their pollinators, since we were the ones who took them out. Apiary, I like to put this near our tower, although it doesn't really matter. I don't think I've ever seen it get attacked. We'll put it here. And then we'll send the tech. Now that we've used the bee, we'll send the tech back and talk to them about pollinators wanted. Okay, we could give them a queen bee, or we could propose breeding a new queen. There's a pollinator shortage at this farm. That's your fault, in case you've forgotten. They only had a single queen. Well, that's all we had, too. And I don't think it makes sense to, like, move bee queens around from other farms. We could propose breeding a new queen. That's going to take creativity and wisdom. I don't remember what happens when we do this, so I'm going to do it. That absorbs that tech for 10 turns is what happens. Alright, meanwhile, 2 more turns here. 8 more mental energy in this turn. It starts to get a struggle to find things to do with your mental energy when you have this much, when you're just waiting for stuff to happen. So I think that's a sign that we should start another contemplation. And it's really this full metal myth one. That was the entire reason I made that technician, was to do this contemplation, and I forgot. So we can make it another one. Oh, unfortunately, this will take us above cap, so did things in a weird order there. I don't need all these sledges, it turns out. These guys, yeah, aren't really adding much right now. So we can destroy one of these sledges. It'll be sledge N422, since he was the one who angered the vertical. He's marked effective. Might as well get rid of him. And then, yeah, let's bring a tech down here. Deploy a tech here, and we'll have this tech immediately go and start the full metal myth contemplation. Well, technically we have created their mythical nemesis once, but I don't think we actually got around to making it. Inserting yourself into human myths is dangerous, to say the least. However, you've already heard the Wastelanders call you the mind in the sky, so they already started it. There are 2 solid options from their mythology to make them more compliant. You're not sure which is the wiser course. It probably matters. We're gonna do the create mythical nemesis this time. Oh, I see. So this is part of the core route for goal escape the city. That's what we want to do. It eliminates military invasion, World War IV, unknown, and altered growth. So there's a lot more goals attached to this one, but I'd like to get going on escape the city and see if we can make any progress on that. So let's create their mythical nemesis. Now available, liquid metal fell beast. Well, that is a mech. A liquid metal fell beast. We want to make this once. It takes a lot of gadolinium mesosilicate, so it's time to start thinking about how to make that stuff buildable. Gadolinium mesosilicate requires soul gel hydrolysis reactor. It takes bastnasite, outputs gadolinium. Well, we've got bastnasite income, 383 per turn, so that seems reasonable. We can just make one of these. I'd like to make more than one, but we don't really have the income. It's also a lot of electricity. This is going to go into a building, so we want to keep it inside of our protection ring. But where inside it doesn't matter. Let's put it in one of these innocuous little buildings over here. That took assembler robotics, 10 of them in fact. We have 69 left, so we could make another one of those, but what we really need to do is get that thing built, which I can't do in this view, so I'm going to switch to normal view and go structural engineer on that building. 3 mental energy left. Now we have soul gel hydrolysis reactor and gadolinium mesosilicate income. It's going to take 20 turns to accumulate enough to make that guy. So I really want to figure out how to improve our bastnasite income, and that's about the hauler robotics, right? We're up to 800 science, so it's time to do another research here. It's going to be another melee research. Sword sharpness. And that's all we can do for now. 2 turns left on the infiltration. 3 more turns of infiltration. We should think about VR cradle factories. We're going to need these probably need these for the Torment Nexus. I assume we'll need these. This takes computronium cubes. We are making 360,000 cubes a turn. This will take a few of those. Slurry also, and it outputs some full dive VR cradles. Let's make at least one of these since we have the assembler robotics. This doesn't need to be anywhere special, so let's just tuck it somewhere that seems like it'll be in our repair radius. Yep. And then let's send our technician over there to get cracking. Out of action points on that guy. Guess we'll just send this other tech closer for next turn, and that is the end of turn 11. Let's head to turn 12. A new hacker appears, targeting our Exeter. Harbinger is nearby and can take care of it. We're not gonna... Oh, are we gonna hack it this turn just to see? Resistance of this target is 230. I guess we should hack it just to see what happens, because it's been a while since we've done this. Okay. So this is gonna bring us to the hacker minigame, and honestly, not my favorite part of Heart of the Machine. Could do the full hack. Problem with doing the full hack is even once you get to it, you still have to spend the points for these sub hacks. So I'm just gonna skip this. I think it makes more sense for this, for what I've been doing. It's just so much simpler. We'll weaken the hacker with our staff, and then we'll destroy him with the Exeter. Now, it could be that I'm missing something there, and there might be additional bonuses I gain by doing the hacking, but if there are, I don't know what they are. I haven't seen them. We need one more turn to finish this infiltration, then we'll be done with developing the TPN. We do need to finish making the VR Cradle Factory here. And that's done for this turn. We could probably use an additional residential megastructure, although we're only at 5,000, nowhere near capped there. Could make robotic motivators. We've made a couple of these already. Not sure we need those. I'd really like more soul gel reactors, but the bastnasite expense, we're down to 83 a turn, so we'd run out of bastnasite if we did that. Purple Murnong. We should probably start looking for purple Murnong. Let's see, what else have we not built? Right, bovine replicators. We should make these. These need cultivators. We should also make code breakers. Those are definitely going to come in handy. Quantum processors are only used for code breakers. So let's make these just to have them on hand. And I want to make them in my circles. Let's make we can make 2 of these code breakers. We don't need them immediately, but we will eventually need these once we find some data missions. I'm gonna put them in an couple adjacent tiny buildings down here. Bovine replicators need cultivators. Let's look through cultivators really quick. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we need for these with cultivators. We do have a lot of cultivator robotics, but not enough that we could just like make random things. It's really the Murnong patch here, and we don't have Murnong, so I want to start with this one. So the reason you want Murnong is because you can make vitamin infusers, and I suspect this is going to be necessary for it's necessary for the stuff that you feed people in full cradle VR, but I suspect it'll also be necessary for the injections we're learning to give people. So let's get a jump on that and see if we can find a vehicle that we can siphon Murnong off of. I think that's going to be Street Sense, and I think it will show up as Resource, maybe? So Resource Rare is only showing Pollinator Queens. I'm not really sure it will show up here, honestly. Resources, we see... Okay, so we do see what economic transports are holding. Like this one is holding neodymium. So we could, that's another way we could be getting neodymium faster, is by extracting them from vehicles. So just looking through all of the icons to try to find something that looks like Murnong. It's possible that you don't get access to it until you have a need. but I'm not seeing any right now. It's usually like one ship that has it. And I don't see any, so I guess we'll just wait on that. Okay, we could send people out to wall rip. We do have a bunch of sledge. We could be wall ripping alumina and neodymium to try to speed that up, because alumina is sort of a bottleneck for us right now. We have one more. We have enough robotics to make the zoology lab, but we don't have enough alumina. We need 5,000. We have 2,400, so a couple more turns, 3 more turns before we can do that, and then we'll still need to make the surgical suites. We can make 4 of these, so it's probably going to be 2 medical practices and then 1 of each of the other 2. Bovine replicators are important. I guess we could start making 1 chain. Let's make like 1 bovine replicator. We should have bovine tissue, right? No, we don't have bovine tissue, so we need to start there. Let's start by finding bovine tissue. That will be resources. And there should be a cow somewhere that we can steal bovine tissue for. Don't actually see any though, so that's another shocking thing. Not sure how we're going to make protein if we don't have any cows. That may be a problem. It's probably why it hasn't recommended these yet. You need a way to like kickstart your bovine replicators, because they take bovine tissue, they produce a bunch, but they take some to start. So we can't do that yet. Hydroponics, on the other hand, we could make these. So hydroponics will give us hydroponic greens, which we're going to need. And we have everything we need for that, right? Yeah, so we could make one of these. That's sort of a no problem. Hydroponic towers are pretty big. They take up a lot of space. There's a lot of empty space in this map, though, it seems like. It's just not readily apparent where it is. There we go. We'll start a hydroponic tower there. I feel like maybe we're going to have to use the protein canneries because we don't have any way to make protein, so we'll see. These make vat-grown meat. That's ultimately where we're trying to get to. Protein canneries make canned protein. Might be an alternative. These produce canned protein scavenged from protein sources in range. Delivery-style drones blend in and scavenge protein from humans and animals nearby. There's a waiting list for living space, so this environmental resource is rarely depleted. To avoid discovery, protein is not harvested from the same place too often, so it's kind of grisly. We've never made a protein cannery. It's going to go around and harvest the dead or the living. It's not really clear. Vitamin infuser will require Murnong, and the VR cafe is going to require VR cradles. So that's a reason to make VR cradles. We did make one. We have one VR cradle factory, computronium cubes. We could make another one of these. 380 is pretty small. VR cafes require 1,500. So that's like 5 turns of output from the VR cradle factory. I guess we wait rather than make 2, or do we make 2? What would be the drawback there? It's just computronium cubes, so yeah, maybe we make another one of these. Usually I end up with just an enormous amount of these, so I guess making another one makes sense. Alright, and then for mental energy stuff, we can send the senior tech here to go and do some structural engineering on these 2 buildings. I kind of meant to finish one, but I clicked on both of them by mistake. That's okay. We also have a technician nearby over here. We can bring him over to finish these as well. I got both of those buildings built. I think that's everything. No, there's 2 more with construction. but they don't get listed here in an easy way. Right click. Nope. Okay, well there's two other buildings somewhere with construction. Maybe it was those two that we just finished. I'm not sure. We have 2 more mental energy here. Are there any other things we want to do this turn? We're full on bulk units. We haven't filled up on mechs, but we don't really need to. I think I'm just going to advance time to turn... turn 13. And hopefully that's the end of the investigation. It is. Great. Alright, 0% on Trial Nexus. Next, we got Torment Vessel is now available. TPN Refinery is now available. Working Class Capture Drone, High Class Capture Drones. Nath TPN Revenge. And turn 13. Nath Vertical doesn't know why you stole TPN of all things, but they know that you did. They're angry and will launch a broad attack on you from many directions. Prepare yourself for in 5 turns. They're coming. I also have an upgrade to pick. Okay. Let's pick the upgrade, I guess. Android Optimization. Port Droid Cognition. Might be wise to get our cognition up a little bit. We could also keep hardening. Although it's the Dynadroid, so that doesn't really matter that much to us. Alright, I'm gonna go for the cognition just because we haven't really done anything about improving cognition yet, and sometimes you run into cognition thresholds. Okay, that's it. Trial Nexus. Before expanding too much, let's capture a smaller group and put them in torment vessels. If there are any problems, we don't want crop die-offs that are too large. We need to torment 12,000 humans. Okay. That means we're gonna have to start building torment vessels. It wants us to make a bovine replicator, so interesting. I'm not sure how we'll do that. It does suggest we make 9. Not sure we can just make them without existing tissue. Next we'll start with the water, we'll start with the torment, we'll start with all of this. Yeah, look at that, bovine tissue expense. So TPN Refinery is going to require bovine tissue. So it turns out we don't need Murnong for this, which is good. But we are going to have to figure out how to get tissue from the cows. Let's turn this on to all and just see if I can find a cow icon in here, because I assume there is one somewhere. But maybe it's something we have to get off of a passing ship. Yeah, I do not see any. I'm a little worried about that. We did find bees, but no cows. There's farms everywhere. Maybe we just have to go to the farm? Selling. That's for selling. Buy paper. Maybe a warehouse. We could go to the warehouse shop and buy from them, possibly. Not sure. At any rate, I certainly don't see any bovine tissue on the map anywhere, so we're going to have to figure out where to get that. I'm going to try to send a tech to one of these shop ones, not the open pantry. Where did I see it? Wall rip, selling. I think there's a shop where, there's possibly a shop where you can buy. There it is. So these little tiny ones here. Warehouse shop. I'm not sure what I can buy at the warehouse shop, or even if I can. We do have a lot of wealth though. Oh, and it gave us bovine tissue. Okay, never mind. So just the completion there must have given us bovine tissue. It doesn't say. But yeah, I think the game just gave us the tissue just for this contingency. So that means we can go ahead and start making this stuff. We're going to walk through all this. We'll make another biomulcher. We have 3 already. These are 8 centimeter crabs. There's not really any any other use for these except for biomulchers. Actually, that's not true. I think 8 centimeter crabs you can now make. Oh, no, that's all. Never mind. That's all they're used for is biomulchers. We can just drop some of these. Biomulchers you tend to want to just stick in places where they're not in the way. Bovine replicators suggest we make 9 of these. These are going to take, yeah, not much to make, so we might as well just stack 9 of these. Last time this was something that did get destroyed by bombing because I grouped all of them together. So one of the goals of this timeline is to spread these out. So that's what I'm doing now. We're gonna just drop bovine replicators at random in the city and hope no one notices. And hope that they're sort of covered by my repair facilities. I think they generally are. This should be fine. And they fit in small spaces, so pretty happy with that. It's easy to find places to put them. two to go. Hello? There we go. Alright, and then to use bovine replicators, normally you make protein out of those, but we're just gonna make a TPN refinery directly. Interesting, but to make TPN we need a lot more alumina first, and we need water. Plus hydroponic greens. So we already started hydroponic greens with 1 tower. We'll make a second hydroponic greens tower. I'm looking for a spot as usual. There we go. Make a 3rd hydroponic greens tower. We will make more geothermal wells. Great. These will cost neodymium. We do need the neodymium also for torment vessels themselves. Torment vessels convert human suffering into quite a lot of neural expansion. We're gonna hold 12,000 people in these. That's what we need. So we only really need 1 torment vessel to start. So we'll start with that because it will use, actually we need to start with a geothermal well. So we'll make 1 more geothermal well. That's going to prevent us from being able to make torment vessels for a while. I want to make sure I'm in my circles for geothermal wells. We do have a lot of space to play with. Okay, yeah, we can't make another one. We can't make torment vessels yet. We're out of neodymium. We can make more wells and cisterns. It wants 4 more wells and cisterns. That just seems like a lot. These make 34,000 groundwater. I guess we're going to make a lot of these. We need groundwater and filtered water in these. Okay. I'm trusting its math. I'm not going to do the math. Just going to let the game math for me, which is really what it's doing with these suggested. It's like, you know, the math says this is how many it's going to require, so let's build that many. And again, just placing these at random. 1 more. And the random placement is just so if we ever do get attacked by area effect weapons, it doesn't take out like a group of everything at once, like we've seen in the last timeline. Although that really didn't harm us that badly because we had really good repair bot coverage. So this may be an overreaction, but it's fine. All right, there we go. We need more geothermal wells first because we're pretty close to the limits of our power. And then we'll make a torment vessel and TPN refinery, but we're getting close. There's going to be a few turns while this stuff all gets built. We can start that now. Geothermal well is probably the thing to start first, so let's find the one we just made. Is that it? No. It's one of these. Did this actually? No, that is it. Okay. Let's Send tech over there to work on geothermal well. And we'll send the other tech over there to also work on geothermal well. Alright, next we're going to work on the well and cistern. And we'll send one more tech to do that. And we'll keep doing that with the rest of our mental energy. And there we go. I guess we could do one recharge. Get one more shot on that. And that's the end of turn 13. And I think that's a great place to end this episode. It's been a double-length episode. Hopefully you're still enjoying my playthrough in Timeline 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Consider clicking the like button for me and subscribing to the channel. Both of those would really help. In the meantime, I do hope to see you next time, and until then, bye.